Open Brunei was invited by Royal Brunei Airlines to visit the Boeing headquarters in Seattle. Boeing 787 Dreamliner, changing air travel. My journey starts at Brunei International Airport. The flight would take me from Brunei to Singapore, to Tokyo, to Seattle. Boarding the plane is hectic enough. I've already been in the airport for a few hours, and now I need to find a space for my luggage, and wait for everyone else to settle in. I really just want to sit and let the plane take me to the final destination. Finally, when I think it's never going to happen, the plane starts to move.
Down on the floor and follow the emergency lights.
Anyway, the flights gave me enough time to think about how different this flying experience could be. Could flying be more comfortable? I land in Changi International Airport. It's the shortest leg of the journey, and I'm already starting to feel a bit tired. We stay overnight in Singapore, and a nap, and a couple of hours later, I go back to the airport. Layovers are the strangest things. You're waiting around in some airport as people sleep around you, wondering if you can fit an extra perfume bottle in your luggage. Anyway, I board the plane, greeted by the cool ambient light. I fish it around the limited space in my seat. The food cart passes by, limiting movement between seats, and getting in my way of a much-needed toilet trip. Another landing in Narita, and at this point I'm wondering how long it's going to be until the next flight, and if I'm ever going to get to Seattle. I left Singapore in the dead of night, and now I'm in Tokyo where it's bright. Well, a little too bright. Luckily the layover is quite short. There is enough time to freshen up and head on to another plane. This is the final leg. As I'm heading into Seattle, I'm trying not to think about it too much, but I'm flying over an expansive body of water that covers 46% of the Earth's water surface. After flying on 3 planes for 29 hours, over nearly 12,000 kilometers, leaving Brunei on a Saturday night, I finally arrive in Seattle on Sunday morning. The next day, Boeing took us to the Dreamliner gallery. I arrive at the shiny new place to find out of a whole bunch of new features this plane has. The windows on the 787 are 47 by 28 centimeters. The window shades are electrochromatic windows, not physical. Mark Larson explained what the hype was about.
So it'll go from clear to 99.95% light block. Takes about a minute to go there. You can see the light will flash indicating that it's on its way. The horizon is an important aspect of flying. Most airplanes, the windows are too low and you can't see the horizon without going out of your way to look at it. The other thing is in the middle of the cabin, you're really not connected at all to the outside world because the windows are too low and you usually can only see 1 or 2 windows. So the idea of the windows much higher, limit the height of the seats so that people in the middle of the cabin can see down the entire length of the airplane.
I was also shown seats that are going to be used on Royal Brunei's Dreamliners. The economy seats will be wider than the current ones, and with a better recline. Mark Larson explains more.
What you have is if you watch the seat, it just doesn't simply recline, it actually articulates. So you can see how the bottom of the seat goes forward, back of the seat goes back. What that allows it to do is take away a part of the person's room in the behind, but also take away a little bit of your room. So what you're getting is the equivalent of about a 6-inch recline. These lights are actually going outboard, they're not going down. If they were going down, you'd see streaks of color. So by bouncing them off of surfaces, that allows the colors to mix. So you see the resulting color, not the individual elements of the color. Here's where we start introducing color on the sidewall. This is a nice warm color. So easily done. Once you get into meal service, blue is not a good color for food. It makes food look funny. So once you've gotten up in the air, at nighttime cruise, this would be something appropriate. you might be on a 10-hour flight, you might be doing 3 meals. So some people just want to sleep. You don't want the downwash lights in their eyes, but the people who do want to eat or have a snack need light in the aisles to do their thing.
I was also taken to the Customer Experience Center by Kent Carver to see a full mock-up of a cabin.
Architecture. Now, they cited basically cathedrals, mosques, large places of worship was how this thing was figured out. They had huge space, wanted its separation from outside. They found if they brought people through a lowered ceiling entryway, it created a compression and then released people into the larger space. Think of high-end hotels. They use this same feature. Lowered entryway, double doors, rotating door, high ceiling lobby, big atrium. It's compression, release. The height of the airplane, we're utilizing the all LED lighting to create a greater sense of height and space. They want to know, does my bag fit, right? So we went to every airline's website, see what they allowed to be brought on board. We took the largest dimensions of all those pieces of luggage. We designed the bin around those dimensions so that the bags can go in wheels first, on edge. We maximize usable storage space. Here's the important thing, close to their seat. Not 20 rows behind them, not 20 rows in front of them. It's another anxiety point. What's happening with my bag? This allows them to put a bag close to their seat. So we really looked at those types of things to try to remove that anxiety. The maximum internal altitude of the air and cabin at cruise is about 8,000 feet. It's like being in a mountain at 8,000 feet. Things associated with higher altitudes, headaches, muscle aches, fatigue, nausea, all mild forms of altitude sickness, affect people. The composites, we can lower that altitude. So we did a lot of studies to see what a good altitude is. Basically what we found was sea level to 6,000 feet, statistically pretty much the same reporting of symptoms. So we can get to 6,000 foot internal altitude because of the composites. And that allows us to alleviate most of those symptoms. Combined with this lower altitude, a little higher relative humidity on the airplane, gaseous filtration system that's going to filter out contaminants that cause that kind of burning eyes, nose, and throat feeling in gaseous form. It's going to help filter those out.
Here I am heading over to the Boeing Everett Factory. This factory is the largest building in the world by volume, and going inside was, well, hard to compare with anything else I've come across. The building is massive. Along the production line, the Royal Brunei planes are being assembled. The others are in South Carolina. Altogether, there will be 5 Royal Brunei Dreamliners. One will be delivered sometime in September. Royal Brunei will be the first airline in Southeast Asia to have Dreamliners, initially going on regional routes and later being the first in the world dedicated to long-haul flights. The planes themselves are meant to be 20% more fuel efficient than similar-sized airplanes due to advances in engine technology. The Dreamliners also have a better capability for long-range flying, which means less stops and more bearable flying times. Connecting more people directly to their destinations offers a number of environmental benefits. There's fewer takeoffs, fewer landings, which means less fuel consumed and fewer emissions. It reduces the total noise footprint. The 787 is mostly made of carbon fiber composite material, so the manufacturing process produces less scrap material than current processes, which waste as much as 90% of raw materials. Overall, it's meant to be more environmentally friendly. That's a summary of the Dreamliner. You may point out that travel is often affected by other passengers, crying babies, loud, talkative people, restless children, who are outside of your control. That said, Boeing has tried to improve the overall flying experience as much as possible, from the ambient lighting to the spacious cabins and a supposedly smooth ride. On their own, each improvement seems subtle, but together they make for an impressive overall experience.